Welcome to today's daily journal. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Just getting on live on all my platforms. And now we are live. Okay, cool. Day 5. Can't believe it. Just like that. It's already been a week. And I feel like a lot has happened just in the last week alone. And I'm glad that you guys are a part of the journey. And so just to recap a few things that I have learned yesterday. Before I get into it, just want to express some gratitude. I'm grateful that we've been doing this for a week. I'm grateful to have all the people that have supported us over the years. I'm grateful to have this platform where I can feel like I can be me. I can share my lessons. I'm grateful that things that once made me feel different and alone now makes me feel special in a way. Okay. Yesterday morning, the first thing we did was we started researching other creators in tangent niches. And I want to see what they're doing, because what they're really selling is a digital product. And we're kind of selling a digital product. Our low ticket offer is a digital product. We also have a service-based component in it as well. And what one of the creators we found, his name was Creator with a K, creator.io. And he has a lot of lead magnets. And I was looking at his content. I was trying to understand the science behind like why I feel like it does well. And a lot of his posts, it's long form copy, it's great copy, and it has a call to action, and it provides a lead magnet. And if you guys don't know what lead magnets are, you probably have seen it around on social media a lot. It's when they make a post, it's got a 2-step, and you comment down an action word, and it might be like time, and then they'll send you a free resource. And I used to create a lot of lead magnets. The last one I created was actually 3 years ago, and it was how to get through a binge and how to get through holiday season. It didn't take me that long. Back then, I think the social media landscape was a little bit different, but I had a few of those and it did well. It actually attracted a lot of leads. It also builds a lot of trust because you get to see how someone operates, how I think, and I'm actually giving away a lot of free value. And one of the clients I've had for 2 years, he actually found me from that book. So for whatever reason, I stopped doing those lead magnets. I think over time, if I'm being honest, I started to get a little bit lazy, and I thought just creating content would have been enough, like the reels and on the short form content. But now I realize that the landscape for the lead magnets has changed because there are so many coaches out there, so many gurus. It's hard for you as the viewer to differentiate what is good and not. Like there's no way for you to actually know based on a promise, which is just the top of funnel content that people are creating. And when you were to create a lead magnet, it could be in different forms. It could be a podcast, it could be audio book, it could be a video course, but you get an opportunity to get into that person's mind, the author's mind or the writer's mind, and see how they operate, whether your values align with theirs, and then you can build that trust, you build that relationship, and then you can one day choose to, if you want to work with them. But the goal of a lead magnet is, for some people, is to create a piece of content that attracts and generates leads. That's why they're called lead magnets. But I think a more effective way to do it is you create a free resource with the intent of providing immense and ultimate value. And when you do that with the sole purpose of actually helping someone, I feel they start to wonder unconsciously in the mind, if this is what I could get that's free, imagine what I could get if I were to pay for additional support or additional content. And as a consumer myself, I often get lead magnets off. It could be other competitors, it could be other coaches, it could be people that I might one day want to work with just to see what they're about. But I'm also just trying to get some free information as well. And so the logic and the rationale behind creating something that's so incredibly valuable that people just can't say no, it just gives me an opportunity of being exposed to more people. And so we're researching Creator, and we're seeing how he was creating his lead magnets, and he was using something called Gumroad. Gumroad looks quite promising. It's a platform where you can create and add your resources. You could add PDFs, you can add audio files, you can add video courses as well. And you can create it for free, but it also has an option where people can pay whatever they think it's worth. And I think the purpose of these lead magnets is not to generate any revenue. I think it's to give good value into the market. I think if I give good value into the market, eventually people are going to want to reciprocate. I read a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. So if you guys are ever in in sales, or you're looking at running your business, I definitely recommend that you read Robert Cialdini's book Influence. And one of the concepts he talks about is the law of reciprocity. It's when you give and people feel obligated to give back. And so if your business isn't doing as well, or if my business is not doing as well as I want, it's because I'm not giving enough into the market. That's how it is. So I need to create more lead magnets. It builds trust, it provides values. And I was brainstorming with Mert what format I should do. I feel like people in the health industry may not want to watch a course. Maybe they want a PDF. But then I put it on my poll, and it's like 30-30-30. It's like 33-33-30. It's like it's an even split. And Alex Hormozi, when he created his book $100 Million Offers and $100 Million Leads, he also created on all 4 platforms. He created it as a video course on his website. He created it as an audio book, and he also created it as a physical book. So yeah, definitely on all platforms. So that's what I'm going to do. I've already started planning and writing out one of the modules, one of the books, and it's how to have more time and energy. So how to have more energy for your kids after work. Targeted towards business owners, entrepreneurs, mainly parents that struggle to have energy after work. And now this is going to allow them to have more energy throughout the day, but also be able to spend more time with the kids. And I think that's a very big gap. And when I'm spending time in the messages, I'm hearing a lot of struggles and challenges and roadblocks that my clients my followers are feeling. I think it makes sense for me to create a resource that can actually solve their problem. So yesterday was when I started to feel a little bit overwhelmed as well, because now I'm like, okay, it's another thing that I'm adding onto my plate, but it reminds me of all the things that I should have been doing earlier. These are the things I should have been doing 3 years ago. If I had made one lead magnet a month, if I spent 1 hour a day on it, 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month, more than enough to create a resource. I would have had like 20 to 30 right now, but I don't. And it just reminds me of the work that I haven't been doing. And it feels good. It feels good knowing that I'm not where I want to be, not because it's a me thing, not because the universe doesn't like me. It's because there's things I haven't been doing. So it allows me to shift something that feels amorphous, like overwhelmed, to something that's logical and something that I can actually chip away day by day. One of the things I also was talking to Hang was she got her first, I wouldn't even call it a negative comment, but she got her first hate comment. And she's been making these amazing reels at the gym. I think they're great. I think they really speak to the type of clients that Hang wants to work with. They help them. That I think it's very inspiring. Like Hang really inspires me, and that's why I think it's great. Because when I hear these things, it really inspires me, and it inspires her clients. Juk, a client from the States, says that Hang is the first person, thousands of kilometers away, first person in her life that's actually been able to see her for her. So, and the thing is, it's not for everyone, and it's not supposed to be for everyone. So Hank got a first comment, and it was just someone saying cringe. It's like, it wasn't even a hate comment. But we're kind of discussing how we kind of get through that, and how I get through getting hate comments is I've always known that there's going to be some hate comments or some comments that people don't necessarily agree with. And as you get bigger, you're going to get more and more. So you can choose to ignore it, but you can't ignore it. It's going to be there. You can tell yourself that you're ignoring it, that it doesn't affect you, but it does. It affects you in some way or another, but you can change the way that it affects you. Now, this is what I learned with NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. It's one of the sales courses that I was actually part of, and it's really about reprogramming your own mind more than anything. And when you reprogram your own mind, it changes the way you feel about certain things. So for example, when someone gives you an objection, you feel like it's a rejection. It's a rejection against you or your values or who you are, your product or whatever it is, or how you speak. But it's not. It actually says more about them than it does about you. It's their own limiting belief. Because if you truly believe in the product and you truly believe that this is the right way forward, and they're not able to get into alignment with that, well, there's some thought processes and patterns that have led them to being stuck, which is why they might need your help. And Juk is a perfect example of that. She gave us every objection under the sun, and I was able to handle each one of them. Let me rephrase, not handle the objection. I was able to help guide her through her limiting beliefs that allowed her to step into the version of herself that allowed her to make a change. And so when I get these negative comments, it says more about them than it does about me. And honestly, sometimes I genuinely pity a lot of these people that make comments like this. Like, I genuinely pity them. Like, I feel bad for them that they feel so low about their life, that they feel the need to bring others down. Like, I can't imagine someone that's actually making a lot of money, very happy, meaningful, healthy relationships, traveling around the world, living the dream, then going on social media and like spreading hate. It's like, it's someone that is cynical, someone that is skeptical of the world, someone that is bitter that the world and the universe hasn't served them. And when they see other people trying to they feel the need to shut them down because they want to justify why they think that they are right, why they think that they are self-righteous and what they're doing is better than someone else that's trying. Like, how can you hate someone that's trying? It's such a high school mentality, such a school mentality. Like, I appreciate hustlers and grinders. Like, I have a lot of people part of my network, and I see other coaches that might not have the same reach, and they're just posting every single day, consistent. I'm like, man, I respect that hustle so much for someone to show up every day. I respect someone that shows up every day without getting the result more than someone that gets the result, because I feel like progress is self-motivating. And so, yeah, this gentleman, I think it's a gentleman, just commented like cringe, and I'm just thinking like, man, I pity that he doesn't see the world from the perspective that we do, that he's not open enough to see the potential in what it is that we're providing. And Hang's video was about like how it's hard for her because she has anxiety to film in a packed gym, and I have to help her overcome that each time. And there was a part of it that didn't want to record that day, and we were like, look, let's just do it well here. We got the equipment, and so she went out and did it, and that's a huge achievement. And people don't understand that if they haven't experienced it themselves. But it's funny because I know for sure that this person that made the comment has a lot of limiting beliefs and a lot of fears that they're not able to overcome because they aren't where they want to be. Because if someone out there is willing to take risk and continue to strive for all the things they want, they're just naturally going to be successful. But I know by default, this guy's not successful. So therefore, he's not making the choices, the actions, or moving forward, or the things that he should. And so there are fears that's holding him back. But he feels like, one of the comment responses was like, record or not, it's not a hard decision. Well, it is for some people. And I think that's why not everyone could be a coach. Not everyone has the compassion and understanding to really understand what someone is actually going through when they're making decisions. Like, being a coach is not just like, here's your meal plan, here's your training plan, go out and tick it off. Like, that's one of the struggles I dealt with when I started the business. I had a great strategy because it's worked for me. It's based on physics, so it works for everyone. But then when I programmed it for someone, they didn't tick it off. They didn't go through and do it. I'm like, why? What is the gap there? So the gap is getting someone to, one, want to tick it off, and two, to tick it off consistently and to change and shift their beliefs. And I think it's gonna run. It's gonna follow along with a breakthrough that I made yesterday. And the breakthrough was how to structure the breakthrough process for someone, to how to really help someone break certain beliefs, reprogram certain beliefs, create habits that reinforce that belief, and then hold them accountable to it. It's like it's a process, and it's a process that I've been doing unconsciously for a lot of my clients, but I have never put it into that format. And now because I'm actually studying a course on how other coaches do it, it's helping reinforce and solidify what I know. And as I'm watching it from two lenses. One lens as a coach that's actually learning, but for another lens is actually, how is this guy creating this content that's allowing me to consume it? And I went through this massive breakthrough yesterday that I was able to start writing out all this content for the school community. And it was content that I've never been able to write before. It just flowed. It just makes sense. And I felt so empowered as I was writing, and I was reading it to Hang. She felt that feeling as well. And I'm like, this is exactly what we need, because this encapsulates what we do on our one-to-one calls, but it's in the modules. And it's going to allow people to feel that, feel a certain way, feel that belief, create that belief. One of the things it's called is like embedded commands. And embedded commands is these statements that we inject into our speech, and it's unconscious and it stays into the unconscious mind. And one of them is like just letting them know that they can succeed. Like, you can succeed. You need to believe that you can succeed. You need to believe that this is going to work for you. And as long as you keep repeating that, it will stay into the unconscious mind. And just having that belief that they could and it is possible, your mind will start to connect its own dots and make that a reality. So if you come in with the belief that you are not going to succeed, you are not going to succeed, because you will find and search the evidence to support that statement. But if we can put that thought into their mind, we shift from uncertainty to possibility. It opens a whole new world for people. And then they start connecting the dots. And so one of the things I realized learning from expert coaches, the content stuff is probably like this much. And he talks about the possibility as this much. So he talks about these are the things you can do. You can create a lot of impact. And he's putting all these thoughts unconsciously into the mind of the viewer. And this is the piece of value that he's sharing. It's super simple. It's not something that's complicated. It's actually really simple. And when you have that simple concept, unconsciously, I believe that I can create all this change, and I go out and I do it, my brain starts to connect the dots with everything that he said with the change that has been made. And we've noticed that with our program. And I didn't know how to describe it or explain it. And I don't know if I'm doing that well to explain it right now. But say you join a fitness program and it's just meal plans and training plan. But in the process of them following a meal plan and following a nutrition plan, they start to develop their mindset. They start to develop the resilience. They start to reinforce certain behaviors. They reinforce certain identities. They start to eliminate bad habits. And then as a result, that positivity starts to compound and they want to start making more positive changes in other areas of their life. And so we've had people being able to quit drugs after 10 years of not being able to fix their relationships, quit the 9-to-5 job, get promoted, and all these things compounded from the fitness program. But my program didn't tell them, hey, this is how you go quit your job, or this is how you go quit drugs. But when I tell them that that's the possibility of what they could achieve by creating that identity, by sharing my personal stories and sharing other stories, it puts a thought into their mind unconsciously of what they could achieve. And the process of them following the fitness program allows them to see all the other changes that they could make. And because they took that first step, it was that first domino that allowed other domino pieces to fall. And the other domino pieces are other areas of the personal development. So in a sense, it was because of the program that made them make that change, but the program didn't instruct them to make that change. And so you will see a lot of people and you'll hear their testimonials or you hear the case studies, not even just of my program, but other programs, of all the changes that they've been able to make outside the program, like outside fitness, because they made that decision to join a program, right? So I thought that was really interesting. And the video format that expert coach had it helped reinforce and set the tone of what is actually possible. So that puts the idea and thoughts into my mind. It creates an identity that I want to stay in alignment with. And as I go out and implement the learnings, it starts to reinforce those behaviors and it makes that statement true. It's a manifestation. So that's kind of how coaching works. I'm just helping you understand the logic and the rationale, how someone is able to create a breakthrough. It's really a belief, right? You have these belief systems that govern your actions. You believe that if you work hard enough, you're going to get promoted and you will be able to progress in your career and get a pay rise. And so you go to work every single day. But when you work on your own business, because there's no guarantee that you're going to succeed, you don't have the belief that what you're doing is moving the needle forward, you start to lose motivation. And the same thing with fitness. That's why people fall off track, because they don't have the belief systems in place that remind or reinforce that they can succeed. First step, understand, diagnose the problem, break the belief, create new habits that reinforce that new behavior, and then hold them accountable for it. One of the things I learned yesterday, driving home from work, listening to an Alex Hormozi video, was talking about accountability. And how do we explain accountability to someone? And the analogy was great, and I want to use it in my future discovery calls. And it's, a kid doesn't want to brush its teeth, right? Kids don't want to brush their teeth. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't want to brush my teeth. And I don't know if you guys remember, if you were a kid, was there a time that you didn't want to brush your teeth? and your parents would make you brush your teeth and you'll do it anyway, right? And so that's a great example. Like right now, you brush your teeth every day. And that's an example of how external accountability transforms into internal habits. And that totally makes sense. And just the way that it was phrased and the story and the analogy just makes a lot of sense. And so that's why coaching has been very impactful and meaningful to us and for us being able to make the change. But I feel like most regular people never have that opportunity to experience what it's like to get a coach because it's so amorphous. And there are a lot of, in quotes, coaches out there that aren't necessarily great coaches, and they wear that title, and it kind of mars and kind of taints the impression of what a great coach is. And in a sense, that's why I like to do these daily journals, so you guys get an insight on how I operate. I want to be transparent of a lot of the stories that we have to show you what goes behind the scenes, and you can make that decision one day if coaching is for you. If not, you can do things on your own. That's great. Just I don't think I can do things on my own. So coming back to the negative comments, one of the reframes that I have been able to implement over the years is that I use these negative comments as fuel. Like I love getting negative comments. I actually love it. I get excited when I get it because I'm thinking, how can I respond in a way that's witty without stooping down to their level? It shows my intellect, but it also can guide them in terms of what it is that they're missing. I'll give you an example. Early this year, we were trying to get onto LinkedIn. We were trying to create a presence on LinkedIn, and part of our process was reaching out to our avatar, the people that we might want to work with, and we introduce ourselves and we offer a 5-minute Loom video. A Loom video is just a video talking. I kind of look at the LinkedIn and I tell them how I might be able to help them. So we found someone. One of my messengers found someone. We offered the Loom video, and they said yes. I sent the Loom video, and with Loom, you get an email notification saying if they've seen it or not. So I saw that he saw it. I went up to follow up with him. So I'm like, hey, anything wrong with the link? Sometimes it doesn't work, ? Just to see how they would respond. And he responded back with something really snarky. And he said, I think Loom would actually tell you and give you the analytics on whether I clicked on the video or not. Okay, so he's trying to be a little bit snarky here. Okay, and then when my messenger got it, he referred it back to me, and I'm like, okay, let's have fun with this. You know, if they're gonna speak to us like this, speak to them the same way that they speak to us. Like that's how we treat all people. If someone's nice to us, I'll be nice to them. If they're a little bit mean to me, I'll be a little bit mean to them. But I'm balancing, I'm matching their language. I'm not going a little bit more. I'm not getting emotional about it. I'm like, how can we respond to this intellectually where I find amusement out of this? I want to have fun, because the more negative comments I get, and if I'm able to convert how I feel and take that as a challenge and it now becomes fun, well, the more negative comments I get, the more fun it is. Right. And the thing is, the negative comments to the positive comments is always like a 1-to-10 ratio. Right. And of course, it's different for different creators. But as you start to grow, it's just going to scale up. And I want to be able to enjoy every moment and not feel negative and not have to tell myself that I need to ignore this. And so it was like, I thought, I would have thought Loom would have given me the analytics on whether I clicked on the video. And I responded with, it does, but it doesn't tell me who doesn't have the decency to respond back. And that was like a bit of a sneaky burn there. And then he's like, that's a shame. Then he's like, no, I have watched it. It's just not for me. Right. And just in moments like that, I felt like I was able to, I didn't stoop down to the level. I didn't get emotional about it. And there was another example as well where someone was, we introduced ourselves, and he saw my work history on LinkedIn and saw that I studied civil engineering, and when we were asking if we can send the video to see if there's anything that we can do to help him, he responded back. He's like, I'm more interested in why you're not a civil engineer. There's a shortage in Australia. And then my messenger sent that to me, and he was gonna give this long-winded response about how we want to help the world. I'm like, look, I don't think he's looking for a serious response, but I responded back with the exact same thing he said. I'm more curious about why you're not a civil engineer if there's such a big shortage. And then he responds back like, it's great to see you can actually have a banter. And sometimes people are just testing the waters. You know, the guys I work with, they run businesses, they're high-level executives. And like, if I'm not able to handle their banter, I'm probably not going to be able to handle them. So sometimes they're just testing the waters. And I think the internet is just filled with a lot of weird people as well. And if you allow these people that may not align with you to dictate your actions, you're never going to be happy. There are people that think the world is flat, you know? And there's never going to be one topic in the world that a lot of people agree with. And so I think when these things happen, just reframe it in your mind in a way that you get amusement out of it. And so the more that you get, the less that it affects you. So I just thought I'd share that. That's how I kind of, I don't want to say get through, like it's a big deal. It's just, that's how I deal with it. I find a lot of amusement dealing with these weird people, because I just know 100% confidence that I'm just a little bit further along my mental and personal development journey than they are. And so I don't want to patronize them. Like, I understand why they think the way that they think, because I used to be like that. When I used to play games, I used to be one of the most toxic people in the world. I was extremely toxic because deep down I was actually unhappy with myself. And I feel like on the online platform on games was an opportunity where no one knows who I am and I can just rip into people just to make them feel bad. Like, I don't want to be that person anymore. But I'm also understanding of why they are there. So yesterday, on a different topic, I've been brainstorming a lot of new ideas. And as I start to brainstorm these ideas, one of the overwhelming things is learning how to structure it out. Structure your thoughts. And so my thought process is I just write up all my thoughts onto a notepad. I have different notes of different categories, different folders, and I just go through and I just start writing notes as word vomit. And so when it's time for me to plan and glue everything together, I can kind of piece things together and try to organize it to the best I can. And that's how you build out courses. It's hard to just sit there in one spot and think of ideas, because sometimes ideas just come to you. However, it's something that you have to think about all the time, day in, day out. When you're having a shower, when you're having breakfast, when you're going for a walk, when you're at the gym, you have to obsess about this. And sometimes it might take you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours just to think of that one little idea. But that one little idea, we call that a breakthrough. And most people are waiting for breakthroughs to happen to them versus trying to actually create the breakthrough themselves. And sometimes the breakthrough is not easy. It requires a lot of work, but just adjust the lighting here. It requires a lot of work and it requires obsession. And I have been brainstorming while doing other things, like while going for a walk, while I'm at the gym. And Tony Robbins calls it net activities, no extra time. So I'm at the gym for like 1 or 2 hours already. And instead of on my rest times being on social media browsing, I go on my phone and I start listening to either other podcasts, other videos, other pieces of content. I can listen to a learning module. And as I start to get ideas, I start to write things down and I start to organize my thoughts. So that way I'm not spending more time. In terms of my training, I wasn't able to beat I did pendulum squat. I wasn't able to beat my top set. I did the same as I did last week. I think I'm not sure if I've uploaded onto my story yet. I'll upload it this morning, but it was a very slow last 3 reps. And I'm curious to know if you guys trained that hard. I did the best that I could, but I was only able to match last week. And so on my second set, which is a back off set, I was able to beat it by 1 week. And I came in with the intention, even though I couldn't beat what I did last week for my top set, it doesn't mean I can't for my second set. And I put everything out there on the table. I pushed as hard as I could and I beat it by 1 rep, which is, it's huge. Going from 12 to 13, it's like, you know, a 9% increase or 8% increase. So I'm very happy with that. And like, not every training session that you have or I have is going to amount to progression and going up. And the best workouts for me are not the ones where I beat what I did, but ones where I'm able to overcome mental resistance. Because sometimes there's a lot of mental resistance. There's a lot of things that's holding you back. That's, you know, the voices in your head that are telling you to give up, telling you to quit, the distractions, and you feeling, you feeling maybe like demotivated, whatever it is. I just learned to filter through and I still try to do the best that I can. So I'm very happy with my training session yesterday. One of the things I learned during my training session was that stress is from unmade decisions and decisions that you don't make or commitments that you don't keep with yourself. And that stress accumulates and becomes baggage, which over time decreases your mental capacity and you become reactive emotionally because you have no brain power. I love that because it, again, allows me to transform something amorphous like stress and overwhelm to something that's logical that I can actually work through. And so if I'm feeling stress, it means there's a lot of things I'm not doing. And it comes with intention. I'm not setting the intention. I'm not being accountable. But this week, I've been very, very happy with my performance and productivity for this week, just because I know that I have these daily journals to document what my days and my learnings are. And I've been talking to another coach, another very successful coach in Melbourne, and I'm glad that they're doing well. And they asked me how was I doing. So the last 2 months have been a very slow month, and it's tricky because it's not like we can't find clients. It's just we can't find the right ones. And when we find the right ones, they pay in full. They love it. They are actually fully committed. They re-sign on. We have decent retention, but it's being able to generate consistent leads and getting consistent exposure. And so for us to get exposure, it's either one or two things. It's either organic or through ads. We've tried ads. I think ads is something that just costs a lot. And I definitely think long-term is the way to go in conjunction with organic. But we need the organic to generate consistent income. And if our organic can't generate consistent income, that means something needs to be adjusted. It could be the offer. Like the offer, the product itself could be good, but it could be marketed to the wrong people. And small adjustments could be made. So when we first started out, it was just like a training and nutrition plan. But now it's actually so much more. Like the clients that come on board realize it's so much more. So it's about us changing the offer. We're not just offering, a fitness program now, are we? We're offering personal development. And so it's about understanding exactly what it is that we are offering by being able to simplify that statement into one line and learning how to market that. So there's something there. We don't have necessarily a proven offer. And I feel like over the last few years, the leads and the clients we've been able to generate have been more or less like a fluke. And this is what this other coach is also feeling. That's why he's actually seeking another mentor as well. But I feel like right now, I feel like our luck has finally run out. But that's a good thing, because I've always known there were underlying issues that I haven't been able to solve. And that's why people ask me, like, why do you work so hard? I would make 30, 40, 50K a month, and I'm still like, I still want to get to that next level because I don't feel like what we're doing is consistent. And what I mean by consistent is it feels like the leads are just coming out of nowhere. We just get people messaging us and say, hey, I'm interested in coaching, but I want a consistent way that I can predictably predict how many leads are going to come through the pipeline, what our percentages are, track all our stats and everything. And I feel like we don't quite have that yet. I'm just going to adjust the lighting. Give me a second. Yeah, I feel like we don't quite have that just yet. And it's just about time that now our luck has kind of run out, which is good because it exposes me for what's really going on right now, all the things that I'm not doing. And I feel like I've learned a lot over the last 3 weeks because I feel like my back's against the wall right now. And that's why we're doing these daily journals. And instead of thinking about the outcome, the revenue, I'm just thinking about all the work that I'm not doing, or the lead magnets I'm not creating, or the content that I'm not creating, or the lives that I haven't been going on, the community that we not that we haven't been able to build, because we've been able to build a great community in Facebook, but not in the way that we're doing it right now. We haven't been able to build a low ticket. We haven't been able to build our downsell, our continuity model. We have people sign on for the first 16 weeks. They might upgrade to 32. Some might upgrade for a year, but then we don't have something after that. I haven't been able to think long-sighted enough. And we've tried to build this continuity offer for a while, but we haven't been able to execute on it. And partially it's because of I haven't been putting enough effort into it. I think that's really all it is. If I had put enough effort into it, I would have figured it out. But I think we're starting to have that model locked down now, and we're very happy and proud of this model. We think it's extremely cost effective as well for what it is. And I'm really enjoying this process again. I'm feeling, in quotes, motivated. And motivation is really the disparity between where you are and where you want to be. And I'm seeing this massive pathway in terms of where we could go. I'm feeling really hyped and amped up to create these modules. And I want these modules to be absolutely freaking life-changing, because I know it can be life-changing for some people. And it's about me learning how to document what it is that I know, the lessons, the values, and the processes in a format that allows people to replicate the exact same process. That's really all it is. And it's a skill that needs to be mastered. I'm only ever going to learn to develop that skill by actually doing. So it's interesting because even though we're going through a place of stress, I don't see stress the same way as most people. You know, it's when you deal with stress, it's either overwhelm or hopelessness. And sometimes I feel overwhelmed. I'm like, well, I like feeling overwhelmed. I'd rather feel overwhelmed, because feeling overwhelmed is infinite possibilities weighed up with finite resources. So I'm just one step away from being able to change my life. I'm one step away from being able to hit the moon. And I see so many other people succeed, and it's taken them so much longer than it has for us. But I'm willing to do it for a long-term game, which is why I've made a commitment to do 1,000 episodes. And it doesn't feel like it's never ending. I think most people, when they think about 1,000, they're like, I'm nowhere near done. You know, I kind of felt that way when I was doing the mini cut series. I didn't have the right mindset. I saw it as a short-term thing, but now I'm in it for the long term. And it doesn't matter what the numbers are. I'm going to show up every single day, and I'm never going to run out of content, because I'm just thinking every single day. I'm progressively overloading every day. I'm learning new things every day. And I think as these daily lives have gone on, I'd like to keep it shorter and condensed so you guys it might be easier to consume. But this is just my raw thoughts at the moment. And it's 36 minutes already. And these are just the thoughts of yesterday. And I've got more thoughts today, this morning already, because I had a few meetings this morning already. I'm going to be doing work all day today, and it's a Friday as well. You know, and Fridays usually days that I recap. We have a team meeting and we recap the whole week. We share wins, and I'll have some more thoughts as well. So I'll continue to share that for you guys. And I'm looking forward to, you know, episode 100, episode 200, episode 300, 400, 500, 600, 1,000. I'd be a completely different person by then. So that's it for this morning, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. There's a lot that we're working through. I'm actually super excited. I'm going to try to be as productive as I can. And I'll speak to you guys tomorrow. I'm actually going to be